guys, welcome to the journey. I have a very special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm T.
Okay, please act like nobody knows you, because nobody knows you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm T.
Your name is T?
That's how you refer to me. People seem to know me as T.
So T, do you have a full name?
I do.
What's your full name?
Oh, my full name is Theron.
Hey guys, we are in the podcast studio. I am in with Theron, my man, my booth, and we have a very exciting topic. This is weird for both of us.
Very.
This is weird. Let's just put that out of the bag. This is weird for both of us. For those listening, you are really missing out. You should be watching this on YouTube to see the whole thing unfold. So we've been dating we're going on 3 years, right? So we thought we'll take you guys, share thoughts about it. And there's always been questions about meeting the right person. Where can I meet a Theron? Where can we meet a Theron? So there's been a lot of that, but all of the 3 years that we've been dating, Theron has never had to do this. And I just thought, why not? Let's get a male's perspective on everything. Dating, relationship, love, fighting, heartbreak. Is it worth it? I did it! I kept it. Anyways, so over to you. How are you feeling?
Great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is great for you. What are your thoughts on dating?
Are we dating?
Aren't we dating?
I don't think we're dating.
What are we doing?
We live together. We are a couple. We're an item. We're partners. I wouldn't differ. I think of dating as people who are getting to know each other, who go on dates so they can get to know each other.
Do you know everything about me?
I don't know everything about you, but I know quite a bit about you. We're no longer dating. We're no longer just getting to know each other. We live together, and I don't think people date when they're living together.
They do. Don't you ask me out on dates?
Yeah, but it's not dating. We're not dating at that point. We're going on dates. But
what should I call it then?
it's a relationship.
Oh, that's the word I should have used. Okay, I was so confused. Fine. What are your thoughts on relationship?
Well, yeah, I vote for relationships.
Is it worth it?
Yes.
All right. So, if you could go back to the day we met.
With the right person, it's worth it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Am I the right person?
Definitely.
Really? Okay, this goes without saying. We kind of had an idea of what this was gonna be. As you can see, I thought we were dating. We are in a relationship, so that's the surprising part. But I'm gonna take you back to when we just met. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked you. I was into you. I was like, yeah, 2 thumbs up.
I got 2 thumbs up?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were funny.
I was very funny.
You were very funny. And, yeah, we had a real good connection. And, of course, you're beautiful and, easy on the eyes. So.
Oh, easy on the eyes. He has never used that lie. I hope we still record. He has never used that lie. Before we move on, Theron is not a man of words. So this is actually putting you out of character.
Yeah.
You're really chatty about other stuff, not these other things. Okay, so it's easy on the eyes.
Uh-huh.
That's new. I'm enjoying this, in case it's not obvious. Is there anything you could have done differently?
I could have done differently.
Yeah, when we met.
Met you earlier?
Oh, really?
Yeah, although if you go back too far, you would have been too young, so maybe not.
All right, so for those who do not know, me and T have an age gap, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a problem for you?
I don't think it's a problem now. I think in some ways, it works out well because for me, I think, it becomes a little bit easier as you get to be older, you become a bit more financially stable, and I think that makes relationships easier.
And raising your girlfriend easier.
Raising your girlfriend easier. But also, supposedly, right, men and women sort of reach emotional maturity.
I'm sorry, this is you're really in character right now.
Yes. They reach emotional maturity at different ages, right? And supposedly for men, it's like around 40 or a couple of years after that or something like that, whereas for women, it's around 30. So
it's not 28 anymore.
28 to 30, men, it's like 40, 42, 43, something like that.
Oh, so you're like matured, right?
It doesn't necessarily mean that a person is mature, like in the way that like society would say, oh, that's a mature person at that age. It just sort of means that they're probably not going to get any more mature beyond that. So
I'm not going to get more mature than this?
Yeah, you've reached emotional maturity.
Oh,
whatever you're at, you're at.
This is what you
This is it. This is as good as it's going to get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over to you. Do you want to bounce a question back? Because I've kept you on the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay, go for it.
Yeah. Is it worth it? I thought it was a very odd question. You've asked, is it worth it? And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did ask me 3 years ago, right about when you met me, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
No, because in my head, I was kind of looking for this particular guy. There's a guy in my head, which I've talked to you about this before. There are things that I've always wanted a guy to have, and I knew I was asking for a lot. Well, I wasn't asking for a lot, but it was kind of conditioned that I was asking for a lot. But then I met you, and all the things that I actually expected, like my exes to meet and whatnot, it came easy to you. So I think it's absolute.
Like what, babe? What?
I'll give you a stupid example. Remember that time every time you cook and where's my... Because we don't have specific gender roles. Theron cooks. It's not a gender role. It's just like... Everybody decides to be their own kind of lazy. Theron cooks, so I'm okay if he cooks. I cook if... Well, just not to die. Theron enjoys it. So every time he cooks, I'll just sit on the counter. I've told you that story like 20 times. So I I saw this guy for like a few. And he was, I don't know, I sat on the countertop and that drove him insane. And I thought it was a white people thing. So I met Theron and he always leaves a space for me to sit on the counter as he cooks. So that's like something very minute, but it means so much to me. Then, I don't know, it's like having your person. I go to work, I come back, there's somebody that I love. Because I don't like sharing my space. I love my personal. Like, I'm particular about stuff, but...
See, if we were dating, you would have your personal space and you would, have that kind of thing. But we're not dating. We're in a relationship and we live together, which is why, like you said, you come home to your person.
Well, again, that's kind of the thing I was trying to say. I didn't
anticipate
enjoying sharing my space. Like, okay, you come over, we hang out, okay, can you leave now?
Yeah.
So that seemed like healthy enough. But right now, I'm just like, please don't leave. For people that actually know us, which is very few people, but for people that know us like in real life, know that we have this codependency, which for most relationships, it doesn't work. What are your thoughts on that?
We're codependent. I don't think that we're actually so codependent so much as that. Listen. So much that we enjoy each other's company and we don't feel a need to, have time apart and, have some separation and stuff like that. But it's not as if we're also not capable or not functional.
Okay, in the 3
If I have time alone, I still enjoy it. I'm not
when have you ever had time alone? The past 3 years.
I do. I have time to waste occasionally, or if I have to go on a trip for work or something like that. It's not like I'm dysfunctional at that point because I'm not with with you. But I prefer to be with you. But it's not like I don't see it as codependent. Is it like we're like, oh, it just don't function without each other?
He's lying. But again,
you want me to be lying?
No, but I don't think we have also never spent time apart, except that one time when my visa didn't come through and then you had to travel for 3 weeks. That's the longest we've been apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and you kind of moved in rather quickly when, I don't know if I moved in or we moved in or I just that never left.
6 months.
No, 6 months was the official, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of were in like the first month we started living together.
Yeah, you slept over a lot, but we didn't live together. You had your own space, almost all your stuff within your own space.
Security. Security purpose.
And we did still spend, nights apart. We weren't living together fully.
We kind of saw one another every day of the week.
Yeah, we didn't do like an extended dating thing. Remember at the time when we were watching these funny shows, people were like, yeah, I have a boyfriend. How often do you see them? Like, oh, once a week or once every 2 weeks. Like that was dating. People were like literally see the person once a week. That's what I think a lot of people think dating is. So you have your own, each person has their own place, right? Mm-hmm. And you have a busy work schedule or something like that. So you don't see each other all week long. And then on like Friday night, you go out on a date. And that's dating.
So that's not.
That's why it also takes forever, probably. Like how many? It would take forever to get to know somebody like that.
Okay. So what would you advise people to do? Move in.
I'm not opposed to it. I feel like you learn a lot. But I think it also works like we did. You move in slowly, right? So you can each have your own space, but I don't see anything wrong with like seeing each other a lot at the beginning. You can work out, like is this something that has long-term potential or not? And
because
if you're just seeing a person once a week,
it's gonna take long to know they're crazy.
It's gonna take, or maybe you will never figure that out until you finally do actually move in, and then by then it'll be too late.
Okay, so we're gonna use the segue to crazy. How soon did it take for you to know, like, oh no?
Well, I mean,
no, babe, there's no.
You're not crazy. Nobody's. I mean.
Am I?
You're not. No.
Oh, he doesn't believe that.
I don't. No, I think you're very much not crazy. You're a very, sort of sane, reasonable.
Enough.
Mellow person.
Mellow.
You are.
I'm mellow.
Okay,
not like
you're
crazy.
a high. You have high energy, and you
okay.
but I don't know. I guess I think of crazy as being somebody like will have very inconsistent behavior. Your behavior is not inconsistent. Your behavior is very consistent.
Thank you.
I mean, you might I think a lot of people would be envious if they sat back and thought wow, how is she just upbeat and go all the time? Maybe there's some underlying mental condition there, but I like it. So
underlying mental condition. That's there in everybody. Okay, so me and you moved really quickly from dating into a relationship. We didn't spend a lot of time dating. That's what.
Apparently, yeah. By
so how long
society's
did you date
definition of dating? I don't know, a couple weeks, a few weeks.
We counted the 10 days. Because
yes,
this is our
dating.
story. So we met on the 10th, which will be the Tuesday you guys are watching this. Initially, we were supposed to just have lunch, and then our lunch, when we met, the chemistry was just there. It was really good. We moved lunch to dinner. We were just there together. And then you had to take care of some personal stuff, and then I had to leave. And then work and life happened. So the next time we ended up seeing one another was on the 14th, which is when we consummated this relationship. And then he was like, man, she's the one, right? No?
No, I mean, I already had good.
No.
Listen, I already had good vibes about you from the 10th. I didn't need the 14th.
You didn't need the 14th, so I should take it off the table.
No, I'm saying it was already, we were moved. That was just like a step along the way. It wasn't like the
He didn't trap you then?
No.
Really?
Yes.
So the 10th, I already had you in the bag. Oh, sweetie. So anyways, we met on the 10th. On the 14th, we had our second date. And then 10 days later, which will be the 20th, right? We said, I love you to one another. Which we're going to agree that it's not healthy. If somebody else told us that story.
I don't know about healthy. It's not risky. Healthy. You know.
Yeah, that's the definition of not healthy. If somebody told me this story, like the one I'm talking to you, like, oh yeah, I met this great guy, and then...
It's emotionally risky. I think, other people maybe might like have a bad reaction to that, like, oh, like this is too much too soon. But
too much too soon.
If it's too much too soon, then maybe that's not the right person for you. Like, I think we were both
attracted towards one another.
Well, we both have this similar aspect to our personality where we have, it was, if it had been somebody else, it would have been too much too soon. But because we're both like, oh no, like we can just jump in head first and, dive in and be vulnerable and say stuff like that and not scare each other off because
I was scared.
We're both, yeah, but you.
I mean, I did feel something for you, but again, I'm a hopeless romantic. I romanticize every little thing. So when I met you from like day one, when I met you, I was like, I wasn't sure, and then when I met you, and I was just like, oh shit, I'm fucked. Like you ticked all the right boxes, but I was just like, well, the good ones are always gone, I guess. So I tried so hard not to like fall heads over heel in love with you. But when you did it, which was like, this is the first time somebody's loving me at my pace. Mm-hmm. So that was refreshing, but also terrifying. Because sometimes I just like romanticize the whole thing, then fall in love with a person really quickly. And then like a week later, I'm like, eh. But yeah, it was refreshing for a change. But if I could go back, I wouldn't change anything. Let's talk about fights.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you say, uh-huh. You'll be like, no, babe, we don't fight. Let's try again. Let's talk about fights. No, babe, we don't fight.
We do fight, but it's pretty rare. I mean,
do we? We've had...
There are times when I like, maybe step on your feelings a bit or maybe a little bit off, and I try to apologize when we move on. Most of that moves on. It happens. Like I wouldn't really qualify those as fights. It's more like like a...
Kymmiee's sensitive?
No, actually, Kymmee's not that sensitive. Kymmie tends to be able to move on.
Thank you. You're maintaining
quickly.
My hardcore status in the street. Appreciate that.
Yeah. But yeah, we have had a few fights where I would say, because then it was like we were in disagreement, as in not just me being like, oh shit, I'm sorry, but like, no, I disagree with you, and you're like, no, I disagree with you, and then we have a fight.
But in 3 years, we can count those in like one.
Well, yeah, about one hand, yeah.
Yeah. So closing on the 3 years, I know it doesn't look like plenty fight, which that's just crazy. We are not relative, even relatives do fight. But in all the relationships, this is the least amount of fights I have under my belt. So in like roughly thinking right now, we've had like 3 major fights.
Mm-hmm.
3 major,
maybe 5, but yeah, no more than 5.
No more. I'm thinking 3 because the 3 did have 3 breakups.
Oh, now we're going to breakups.
Oh, okay. So we've just had, well, they're not breakup. They're just like verbal breakups. Moving on.
Not me. I'm not the one doing the breaking up. And you don't actually break up either, but you like to imply that you might be thinking about it or like...
Yeah.
And that's like a really extreme position to go to. So it's sort of funny because we never fight, but then the very few times we do...
Yeah, I ban everything.
You are very like, oh, I'm about to like leap off a bridge with this, and yeah.
Yeah,
burn
that's
everything behind.
my coping mechanism. I'm gonna leave you before you leave me first.
You've been getting better, right?
I'm so much better. Thanks for asking.
You've recognized that that's
not healthy.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of this, we've kind of had some times where we butt head, and we are all strong, opinionated people, and in most cases, Theron kind of lets things go. So there are times when he feels really strongly about stuff. He will be like, no, I feel really strongly about it. And I'm like, okay, well, I feel stronger. And he'll be like, I feel the strongest. But do you think fights are healthy?
Yeah, there should be some fighting going on. They don't necessarily have to be fights, but they should be. No. Don't have to be fights, but but it would be unnatural if you never disagreed on anything, and fighting implies conflict, and yes, there'll be disagreement, but hopefully you can figure out how to then compromise, because that's the other thing, is learning how to compromise. If you never fight, it's because one person is not really that heavily involved in the relationship.
But again, there's also another way, which if I mention, you taught me this more. Fighting kind of makes you understand the person more. Mm-hmm. Like how they handle. I think fighting for me is healthy, at least once. Leave alone the spicy makeup sex. That's really great. And then sometimes it's good for me to actually still know if I still have it.
Well, I think this was also why I was saying that, so the difference between dating and living together, moving in, that
relationship.
Yeah, being in a relationship.
The big R.
If you can spend enough time around each other, eventually you're going to have a disagreement. So it's informative to see what that looks like. So how does the person handle it? That's
where I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does the person handle when they're really, really mad? Do they still maintain love? Do they reject you? Do they hold back love? Do they get really, mean and say inconsiderate stuff? And I don't. Well, which part? People think I say. Which one is this pointing for?
Like I said, the implying that
I'm gonna leave you.
Yes,
that's the definition of Theron's mean one. So see, when normal people hear mean things, I'll be cussing you out left, right, and center. That's mean. Leaving you, honey.
If you don't mean it, it's mean.
Okay, Theron is a gentle soul. So things like that, and I think in all the fights not all the fights, in the three major fights that we've had, which was also earlier on in the relationship, right? Mm-hmm. The three main fights that we've had, we've gone I think to the lowest. We took each other to the lowest, and we built it up. If I put it that way, you've helped me understand it's easier to communicate rather than actually expect you to read my mind.
Yeah.
And also men, it's surprising how men are still alive, and there's so many of them.
I think also one of the things that often I feel happens in our fights too, and maybe this is true for a lot of couples is also though that, so you're in it together, right? And mm-hmm. and the goal that should actually be communication, right?
Yeah,
that's how you're going to resolve.
That was my next point.
That's how you're going to resolve this thing, right?
Okay.
But it can be a challenge if what people are saying what they don't mean, mm-hmm. and two, if people
are you calling me out?
if people are not listening or believing what the other person is saying either, right? Yeah. So if so you said it's difficult to be a mind reader. But it also if you shouldn't try to read people's minds either, right? So if they're saying what they're saying, listen to what they're saying and accept that rather than reading behind it. And I think that's what it struggles for me, because when you say something you imply you want to break up with me, okay. I take it seriously. I'm not trying to read behind it. I'm so that's why it's hurtful. If you say something like that, it's going to be hurtful.
So you're a guy.
But at the same time, if I say something to you, I mean that. I'm not trying
what?
to.
Have you ever said a mean? Also, if you ever said a mean word to me, did you mean it?
Yeah, probably.
I have one in mind.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. What was that?
I can say it here. All right. So speaking of communication, so to me, we both agree like fighting is a healthy thing to do. No more fights, like once in like 6 months, 8 months. That's healthy.
I don't think it needs to be happening consistently. I'm just saying that.
No, I think I do.
It's an informative thing. I wouldn't.
I plan my fights.
Yeah.
Like Tuesday. Like if things are so great, which is mostly the case for us.
All of our fights have been unplanned. They have all been spontaneous.
I planned some of them.
You didn't plan anything.
You don't see there's been like all our fights. You're making it sound like we fight 100 times.
That's what I'm saying. They're not very many
only
things.
Five
they're
fights.
pretty random, and they.
But there's a fight I've planned.
There are
it's coming
things.
soon.
Okay. Well, that would be new because, like I said, all of these ones until now could not have been planned. They were
right.
things we didn't see coming until they were there.
Yeah, but I think if, with regards to like fighting, we have fought on the major things, and then we kind of have ironed the major things.
Yeah.
The things that. For some other couples, that's kind of the breaking point.
That's why I'm saying also it's important to have some disagreement and go through that and experience that because then you can see how the other person, deals with that kind of situation. And some people don't deal with them in healthy ways at all. And it's good to know that early on and move on if it's just not going to work.
Okay, so I'm gonna take you back into dating.
Yeah.
If we were like dating, and then how soon would you say something is not working out, and how much do you need to be there to give it a try?
Well, I think values, right? So you got to kind of check in on each other's values early, and try and figure out what values are most important to you, and is that person going to
So you would say going into a relationship with a list of first knowing your values as a person, and then as you go into a relationship, ready with facts that these are your non-negotiables. Like, this is what I want. I'm not willing to change this for
Yeah,
reason.
I think that oftentimes people may discover that their non-negotiables actually are negotiable. A lot of things that we think are really like fixed, hard things are negotiable. I think of values more as things that are really intrinsic to the person.
Okay.
And there might be things that you don't even really think about as being values, right?
Religion.
So you're thinking more like religion or
finance, saving. Are those values?
They can be, yes. But I think more, it's about
saving the world.
Yes.
No, that's a good value. It kind of says, it was one of the things that drew me to you, because the world's burning and shit's on fire everywhere, but you're still determined to save the world. So that says more about you, that you're willing to try.
Right. So the value there that I think is more general, though, is simply optimism, right? So there are people who are sort of, inherently come at life and the world and from a kind of a pessimistic, what they might call realistic perspective, right? And sometimes I can fall in that trap, but I think my overall disposition is an optimist, right? And you're the same way, and so that's how we align on that. So those types of values is what I'm talking about, like really.
Also, not striking kids. That's also a huge value in my book.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, see, we both are anti-corporal punishments to kids, just because it's traumatic. It's also going to be like a future therapist bill waiting to happen.
Yeah, and people who have actually looked at this in a systematic, scientific way have all universally concluded that it's bad for people, it's bad for kids.
It's bad for the environment.
It's bad for the environment. It doesn't actually make anything better. This idea that you will somehow spoil the child by not hitting them is just incorrect. Yes, like I said, all the research really suggests actually that physical violence regardless
Okay,
of
physical
the type
violence is
of
pushing
any
it.
kind of no, I mean like of any type of physical violence, is going to both impair the relationship between the parent and the child, but also potentially do long-term damage to the child. There was something like the gray matter in the front of the brain, which is like responsible for like being able to make choices, responsible choices and stuff like that. Amongst kids who are hit, and not like abused or anything like that, but just like hit by.
I'm smiling
by their
because
parents.
the real
Yes.
you is coming out, and I'm like, oh my god, there he is.
Yeah, this is the real me. It actually shrinks as a result of going through that kind of experience.
So yours
as
is
a
like
child.
really big because you're never bitten enough as a child. All right. I just never got it. Not because I knew the science behind it or anything. I just don't think it's necessary. Your point's made.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people who haven't, they haven't had that experience, right? So they were beat or hit as a child. They were and they were told it was good.
Beaten.
They were told
Beating
it was
is
good
minor.
They were told it was good for them, right? And they internalized that, and they can't really picture the alternative because they haven't experienced it, or they think that the alternative looks like really bratty kids or something like that. But growing up, I can say from personal experience, that's not the case
You
at
were
all.
spoiled there, and I
I
think
was
you.
spoiled, but if I went over to other people's house, if outside of the family, and we go back, they would always, my parents would be like, "Who is this kid that you're talking about?" Because they talk about how like, "Oh, he's so nice, you're so polite," and it was true for all of my siblings. That people thought we were all very well mannered and very well behaved kids.
Let me see.
because
Let
you
me
could-
think about your siblings. All of them except one. I'm kidding.
Which one
I'm
are we
kidding.
talking
I'm
about
kidding.
now?
We did also have a conversation about our non-negotiables because I remember when I spoke to you, it's like, what's the one thing that, well, non-negotiables, I think, and deal breakers for us go hand in hand. What is your deal breaker?
Remind me, I don't remember.
You don't remember? I do remember it.
Yes? What
What's
was it?
mine?
Yours?
Non-negotiable thing. The one. There's only one. I've asked you for one thing. Only.
Oh, well, you don't want a cheater.
That's it. There you go.
Pretty easy.
It's not. Do you know how? I know you're finding like it's the easiest thing. It's not for most people. Because how many times have we seen cases of cheaters online, on TikTok, on all the TikTok news I share with you?
Be interesting to see what percentage of
TikTok
them were
news.
beat as children. No, it's like they lack an internal locus of control, right?
Because they were so cheaters equates to people.
I don't know. I'm just making this shit up as I go. But I mean, I'm just particular.
I actually am proud of how you just linked it back.
I'm just making that up. But I don't know. I mean, some people certainly that's more their disposition, I guess. It's not mine. But again, like I said, they have a little bit of self-control. I think people who, it's like something that happens to them rather than like them, obviously they're engaged like that, but they don't feel like they have total control or something like that, and that's how this.
On cheating, I think cheating is you plan to do it.
Yeah,
It's a plan. Because
you do.
it's
for
a plan
sure.
for
You
me.
must.
There's nothing like an accident or cheating.
Yeah,
plan to do it.
It's a lot of work. Like
You would know.
it seems like a lot of effort and I don't know, stress. And I think you also have to have a certain amount of you either disconnect from the person that you're actually with, right? Or
You're
actual
beaten as a kid.
resentment of them.
Oh, you're also beaten as a kid.
Or perhaps you were beaten as a kid.
Okay, so apparently you've forgotten the non-negotiable you said. Yours was never cheating, which is weird.
Well,
yours was lying.
Right, it was lying. Yeah.
You were like, never lie to me, which is like, great. That's the easiest one to do. I mean, so it's not cheating because
those are related things, though.
Not necessarily. Lying could be just like the minute, tiny things.
Like, I think if you practiced lying, right, even about small things, my impression is that people do, right?
Yeah, because they're beaten as kids.
You practice lying even over small things, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe to the types of people that you're lying to, or the context. If you keep it sort of separate, maybe you can kind of control that. But if you are constantly lying to your partner, right, even over just small little things,
there's no
which
point
is usually, as a means to manipulate them, then it becomes easier eventually for it to become about much bigger things.
Okay.
Because you've just had so much practice and you're good at it, and whatever internal qualms you would have about it.
Internal what?
Qualms.
Use that in a sentence.
Misgivings, yeah?
Why wouldn't you just use that?
Because qualm is also a valid word to use for that.
It's such a big word. Okay. Your own internal qualms. If you have
internal misgivings about it, right?
Qualms.
Through the use of small lies and manipulating your partner on a constant basis with that, you figure out how to disconnect those misgivings, and that's going to allow you to do other things like cheat eventually.
I'm just going to go off topic. Have you ever thought of doing a podcast? Because I know
We're
you.
doing one right now.
No, this is not yours. You're a guest. You're getting way too comfortable. I'm just saying you're really good at this. No, because I know you and we've had this conversation. But the thing right now that we're doing this, and I'm like, oh my God. This is what was going through my head when you're talking. I was like, oh my God, I'll date that person. It's like, wait, I'm dating him. Sorry, in a relationship with him.
I don't know.
But you're really good at this.
Even right now, though, I feel uncomfortable in that I like to have evidence for things that I'm saying. So
you feel like some of the things is not half researched.
It's kind of half baked.
Like the beating of kids results into cheating. I know you're going to look for that.
That is half baked for sure. The fact that scientifically it's not good for kids, and it's not good for like I said, the internal locus of control and stuff like that amongst kids like that. I think that is actually established but I don't know. I'm kind of curious now about like how much people have looked into lying and like I said, these processes. This is my own personal feelings on the subject. But if I was going to do a podcast, I'd want to like research and find to see if there's any evidence to back up for some of this stuff. Like,
so this is a place where I say a disclaimer.
Lying become easier as you do it more?
I'm sure it's like practice
if you do
makes
it to
perfect.
certain people, does it become easier then
like
to lie to them over bigger things in the future?
You practice more, you get better.
Yeah.
What's the most fundamental, maybe top 3 fundamental things to have a healthy relationship? Before you answer that, do you think we have a healthy relationship?
I do think we have a healthy relationship.
Awesome, because I do feel the same, but I'm also delusional.
Well, we've talked before about love languages and how... Well, I think what makes ours a bit easy is it's not so much that we completely align on love languages, but that you easy. Sort of like accept all love languages.
Yeah,
so
I'm a language.
The things that I like to do, right? My big one is it's acts of service, right? Like I'm really big on acts of service.
And I'm really big at
receiving. And you receive acts of service and feel loved for that. You would also, appreciate words of affection, gifts, physical touch, which we also do. And physical touch is also a thing of mine.
Yours is like 3.
Is it 3?
Physical touch, quality time.
Yes, quality time. That is the one I had forgotten about.
Actually, you're more 2, if anything.
Really?
What? Did I miss something?
Like, so I like to give acts of service. I don't really need to receive acts of service.
So yours are 2. fucking and cuddling.
Oh, things that I like to do. Well, no, it's quality time and yeah, physical touch. Physical touch does not mean sex necessarily.
I like to think it means sex. For a person who we both have, but have you seen how we're like not handsy? We're really trying to be.
Well, we're being respectful for your viewing audience.
I appreciate it, but I also miss you. Yeah, so you're right. How you left completely. Wow. So I still think you're right. The love language, knowing them.
Yeah.
There are two ways to this: knowing love language, but also knowing your partner's love language.
Yes. So, but perhaps this is something that people could do when they're dating, right? Early on, to like talk about this.
We are on the advice section.
If you have, no, I'm just thinking about like this is not something that a lot of people think about until like later on. They're in a relationship, and now people are telling you like, oh, love language is something important. But wouldn't it be great if you actually just sort of like, you know, sussed that out early on when you're dating people, sussed it out, figured it out.
Why didn't you just use?
Early on, right? As part of the, like I said, one of the as something you might consider like a values, right? Like if gift giving is super high on your list of love languages, and your partner is just somebody who's never going to do that, you're always going to feel. It's never going to work. Yeah, but you find people getting into relationships anyways, for whatever other reasons, and then not really understanding why. You know, even though they're both like perfectly nice people and being nice to each other, they don't feel it because
I was one of those people. I don't think love language is that common of a topic. More and more mainstream media is kind of pushing it, but it's not something that you just find outside. There's this whole thing about finding somebody has this 6 foot something, he's good looking, and that for me works. But I think you're the person who taught me what love language was. So I kind of knew what I wanted, but I didn't know it was like categorized into these 5, now 6 chunks. I kind of discovered another one.
Right.
So there's 6 chunks of love language. Because I was like, I appreciate 1, 2, 3, but I didn't know that's kind of how I see love. And it was harder for me. Because as much as I enjoy gift giving, and it's kind of my form of love language, whether you want it or not, I feel like if I give you a gift, you should know that I love you. And you would care less. So that was also confusing. I'm trying to give you a gift to show you my love through like this material thing. And you being non-materialistic, it doesn't work. So that kind of humbled me, but also gave me a good lesson to understand it's just not enough to know what love language is. You also have to know your partner's love language and how they actually feel.
So some people, I think you're already in a relationship and you can learn about this and then you can try and make an effort to express love to your partner in their love language. But that's very difficult to do, actually, because that's not your natural mode necessarily of doing things. So if at all possible, and this is the advice early on, when you're dating somebody, figure out what each other's love languages are, and see if you're already compatible there, because that would be way easier.
Yeah, because it's like
trying to
natural.
Exactly, it's just natural.
Okay.
And I think that's why it's been super easy for us, because although we don't align on all of our love languages, we align on enough so that we do constantly feel appreciated.
We don't align on all our love languages?
You were just describing how gift giving, when you give a gift to me...
That's good for me. You don't have gifts. I get to give the money. We align so well, my love.
But it was something that you like to do. It's a way that you show, affection for somebody, and I didn't
know. I didn't know. I just thought that if you're in love, you have to get that person stuff.
Yeah.
All the time. That's kind of what. And then I was like, oh, there's also these things like this person feels more loved if you're just holding hands or going out on hikes. You feel the most.
Just hanging out.
Yeah. See, you're easier to love and also easier on my bank account. So I appreciate it. You mentioned love language. I would go with compatibility. Sometimes falling in love is easy. We're gonna agree that, right? Or at least for me, it's so easy. But are you compatible?
I don't find it easy. But
falling in love. Yeesh.
I mean, when it happens, it happens. But
It's so easy.
It doesn't happen just
You have a list.
with anybody.
It has to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check, 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 check. Plan the wedding. Boom.
No, I need, you need somebody who's a good communicator, who's open, right? Who's...
You have mentioned the thing that I was going for. Communication.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So communication is another one. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Because in order to even to figure out a lot of
back.
this other stuff I was talking about, you have to be able to communicate. You need to be open with each other. You need to be able to talk.
Okay.
And, maybe good communicators also will realize that they're not compatible because they're both so good at communicating. They can communicate that they don't have different values, that they don't have, aligning love languages, these kinds of things. And they can, agree to go and find other people to communicate with because they're just not going to have an easy time of it.
Okay.
I think so much of, early relationship stuff, people, we fall into relationships with different people for different reasons. And then so much of relationship advice and stuff like that is figuring out how to fix stuff.
Okay.
But wouldn't it be wonderful to not have to fix stuff? I'm not saying that you're gonna find your perfect soul match out there, but we're not so constrained in the way in sort of modern love in the modern world compared to how we would have been sort of more in the past when you really were quite limited in your options and you might not have a lot of choice over who you get married to and stuff like that. And so then it really was about like how to make this work.
Okay.
Instead of, sort of playing the field a little bit, experimenting a little bit, figuring things out a bit, and then looking for somebody that, you're really aligned with. That person is out there.
I'm going to ask you a question because you kind of brought it up on your own.
Yeah.
Do you believe in soulmates? Am I your soulmate?
Yes and no.
Oh,
I just described it. Yeah, you can find somebody you align with in a lot of ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you're going to find just one. I think that there are probably lots of people out there who
are your soulmates?
So I wouldn't call them a soulmate. Soulmate to me it implies like it's like one soul and the other soul and that's it.
Yeah.
But I feel like...
Have you had a soulmate before?
If I had a soulmate before? Yeah. I don't know. I don't... Like I said, I'm not
You
sure
currently have a soulmate. Well, apparently this is a breakup vlog. So we left with intimacy and friendship. Do you think they matter? And to what extent?
Of course they matter.
No, this is supposed to be like interview stage. Obviously they matter.
100%.
100%?
Yeah.
Care to expand?
Okay, well, unless you're talking about asexual people, in which case if you found two asexual people, they could really have a great time together without any intimacy. But most people, I think, out there are not asexual, and therefore, yeah, you want to have some intimacy, some compatibility there.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you like a very dumb question.
Sorry. There are no dumb questions, babe.
All right. Between intimacy and friendship, which one plays a bigger role in the relationship?
Well, friendship, I think, is...
Thank God. If you said intimacy, I would have bolted out of here. I think...
Friendship is a bigger role because you're going to spend more time being friends and just,
Less something like that.
Yeah, you can... I mean, even if you, yes, the humping is always eventually going to decline because for one reason or another, eventually you're going to have, broken hips and,
What are we doing?
You get into your 90s or whatever.
Okay,
at some point, yes, it's going to decline.
That's what you mean. I thought like we are humping all the way we break.
No. I mean, people get old eventually. Okay. So regardless, even if there aren't other, reasons why yes, the humping might decline. Eventually you're going to get really, really old. And so, of course, yes, the friendship is what always needs to be there.
Okay.
And be part of it. Yes.
So we're about to sign out. Any parting words to our listeners and viewers on YouTube? No, let me change that. My listeners and my viewers on YouTube. How is this? This is terrifying.
Yeah. Now that you reminded me that we're doing a podcast and this is going to be on TV, well, on YouTube, but all of a sudden, all of a sudden, it's become a bit. Now I feel like shutting up again. Be quiet.
No, be quiet. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. This was exceptional. I didn't even expect this. Theron went all the way, and honestly, I do appreciate. And maybe we're gonna make him a regular, a co-host. His co-host in your future.
Sure.
I think this is all we have for you guys. We also wanted to discuss travel, but we're going to expand that in a whole different episode, expand it further, because I think it's something that it's a passion for both of us, some more than others. By some, I mean, no, it's all of us. So we'll share our tips, tricks, mistakes, and how we can navigate it better. Until then, stay safe and, respond to that DM. Your soulmate might be in your inbox. Thanks for doing this.
You're welcome.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Mic is furled. Can you hear it?
I can hear that.
Aren't you a bit far? Do you need 2 pillows? Are you short? You good?
I'm good.
Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Me too. All right. So we look at the camera.
Okay.
We look. No more conversation.
Yeah.
Just like you talk to me when there's no camera. It's okay. Don't be weird.
It's okay,
weird. Please be weird, but just your usual amount.
All right.
Don't fart.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome.
Do you want me to monitor this whole time, or should I take it off now?
I don't know. Which do you think works?
The sound seems okay.
What if it goes off? No, I think it's fine. I'll try and look down. You don't have to wear them. If you're happy, we can start.
All right.
On the floor, please.
On the floor.
All right. Do you want to do the intro or should I do the intro?
You can do the intro.
Did you like my title though?
Wait, what's the title again? It was long. It's too long. Sorry.
3 years. The good, the bad, and the surprising.
Okay.
Is it worth it? That's cool. It's a cool title.
What? I don't get the last part. Is it worth it? Where does that come from?
Life.
Is life worth it?
Sometimes. All right, fine. You just had to make it morbid.
No, I'm just saying, like, what is it? Is it worth it? Is it? Yeah.
Okay.